If you're interested in learning how to cook culinary delights from other countries, then we have the recipes for you. We're going to be taking you to Japan, to Spain, and even to Asia with this wonderful array of recipes just waiting to be cooked by you. Take your pick, whichever delights you fancy. Let's get started. First up, we're taking a trip to Japan. We're going to show you how to cook Japanese pork cutlet known as Tonkatsu. That's right, we're going to cook it with curry. This is a really tasty recipe. You just get your cutlet and you cut it down the middle, make a little pocket, kind of like a pita bread, and then stuff it with a local leaf and some cheese. Local ingredients can be found sometimes in the supermarket if you go to the world food section, or you might need to go to a specialist store. And if you don't like pork, if you don't eat pork, you can choose any other kind of meat. You could even use tofu or fish. Quite often when I'm making recipes myself, I just leave out the bits that I don't eat or don't like, and sometimes I substitute them, sometimes I just leave them out. So we're coating our meat, which has been stuffed with cheese and that special leaf. We've coated it in breadcrumbs. That way when we fry it up, it will be nice and crispy. Now, to get the breadcrumbs to mix, it's a good idea. Whisk up an egg and then coat it in the egg first. Then you just make your curry. Some onions, a few vegetables, perhaps local vegetables, Japanese vegetables. Choose your favourite ones. Some potato. We've used curry cubes, but you can use curry powder or make up your own. If you want really tasty curry, it's a fantastic idea to buy your whole spices and then use a spice grinder to make up your own spice batches. And if you dry roast the spices before crushing them up, it really brings out the flavour. The only downside is if you dry fry them first, they don't tend to last as long in storage. But that's okay, you can make another batch. So we're just deep frying our meat. Or if you prefer a healthier option, you could always grill it or cook it in the oven, even shallow fry it. You can choose healthier oil options like olive oil or even coconut oil. So as I said earlier, this could be any piece of meat or even vegetarian. Could be stuffed with cheese and spinach. Who knows? Slice it up, place it on your bed of rice and spoon over your delicious curry. And there you have it. Yummy. Next up, we're going to take you to a traditional meatloaf with a twist. It's going to be stuffed with mashed potato and wrapped in bacon. Again, there are alternatives to this. We're using beef. You could choose your meat though. We're wrapping it in bacon, but you can wrap it in turkey bacon. So you just make your meat mixture and then you make your sauce. We're making barbecue sauce. If you don't want to use too much sugar, then there are healthier alternatives. Or you could just leave it out. We get that lovely tang of the mustard with the sweetness of the sugar and the tomato sauce. It does taste fantastic. You pre-boil some potatoes and mash them up. That's the fun part. Very good for stress relief, you know. Season it as you like. I always love recipes like this, which just add a special twist to what would otherwise be a very basic recipe. You can really jazz things up a bit by adding ingredients with strong flavours. You get the saltiness from the bacon or turkey bacon. You get the super saltiness and strength of flavour from that Parmesan cheese. Barbecue sauce gives you a wonderful sweetness. And of course, if you don't want to make your own barbecue sauce, as we did, you can just buy it from the shop. You could also use any other type of sauce. Perhaps you'd like some garlic sauce or chili sauce. Stick your mashed potatoes in. If you didn't want to use potatoes, you could do mashed cauliflower. Even mashed carrots. Mashed sweet potato is another fantastic option and very healthy too. You just stick your mincemeat on that and then wrap it up like a parcel. And if you really wanted to be clever, you could layer it. Which recipe would you choose from around the world that we've shown you so far? The great thing about these dishes is once you've done a little bit of prep, the oven does the rest of the work for you. So think about your favourite flavour. Do you want to go more sweet? Do you want to go more salty? Do you want to go a bit spicy? Perhaps even a little tangy? Choose your direction and then think about those ingredients and add those. You can put your own stamp on it and it'll be absolutely delicious. A super delicious and hearty meal. Wow. Tuck in. Next up, we're going to Spain to show you Carne Asada. Carne meaning meat in Spanish. First up, we make the marination. We're making it nice and tangy and zesty using herbs like coriander, some jalapenos to make it nice and spicy, some lemon juice to make it sharp and tangy, some garlic, salt, pepper, whatever you want to add. This is what we're adding in ours. We like it zesty and tangy. Adding beef. You can add sirloin steak, ribeye, whatever is your favourite. Sirloin is usually very tender. Now leave that coated in the marination in a Ziploc bag for at least 6 hours. Time is really important. You can even leave it overnight in the fridge. The longer you leave it, the more flavour is going to get inside the meat. Then just grill it on a grill pan. And there you have an absolutely delicious and perfectly cooked steak. Cooked to your liking, of course. You prefer it rare, medium rare, well done. However you like it. This is going to taste fantastic. Served with a squeeze of lime and some tortillas. Juicy. Now we're going to take you on over to Asia to show you how to make spicy mango salad and shrimp. Now, if you don't like seafood or shellfish in particular, you can use any array of fish, or you could use meat, or even just vegetarian. So this has a kind of Thai sauce using things like fish sauce and lime, red onions and chilies, and even green mangoes, things that are usually readily available in that part of the world. Again, if you go to a specialist store or the World Food Department in your supermarket, you are sure to find the required ingredients. So if you have allergies to things like nuts and shellfish, then you can find alternatives. Think of different things that can give a similar kind of flavour or take you to a similar place in your palate. And there you have it. A feast for the eyes. And the lips. Served on a bed of noodles. Ooh, don't mind if I do. Last but not least, we're going to show you how to make tarragon chicken sauce. A very easy to make and very tasty recipe. Now the great thing about this one is you can use really cheap cuts of meat if you don't afford really expensive meat. Chicken is cheap to buy anyway, but if you use things like the thighs and the wings, then it's a super economical meal. Now you just need some cream or cream alternative if you don't take dairy, and you just cook it with the tarragon herb. Tarragon is a species of perennial herb in the sunflower family actually. I bet there's something that you didn't know. It's very common in much of Eurasia and North America, used in culinary delights and medicinal purposes too. So we mix that up with the cream to make a lovely creamy tarragon sauce. Then all we need to do is make a kind of casserole. We just fry up our chicken. No need to even take the skin off. It's that easy. You just chuck it in, fry it over in some oil, to brown the meat and sear all the flavour in. Another brilliant thing about this recipe is it uses really staple ingredients that you will probably just have at home in your fridge or cupboards. Things like carrots and onions and garlic and celery, the kind of things that you will use as a soup base, are very similar to what you would use in a casserole dish like this. So you just slice it all up and you just chuck it all in the dish and let it cook. If you have a machine that slices, even faster. We're using red onion, but you could use any onion you like, even shallots. A lot of these recipes are very much to do with your own preferences and tastes. For example, someone might like to have large chopped vegetables so that they get this real chunkiness and they can really feel that chunky, bulky consistency of their dish. Other people like to chop them up really small so they kind of melt and merge into one another. And you can even use a blender to just whiz it all together if you'd like a nice, thick, smooth sauce. So obviously tarragon plays a big part in this recipe, but that's not to say that you can't use other herbs as well. Perhaps rosemary or thyme, or other herbs that would complement tarragon. And the lovely twist of this is that gorgeous creamy sauce. This kind of recipe you could use cream, even soy alternatives. Lashings and lashings of tarragon for this, of course. You can add it at every stage of the recipe. This is a very popular and common dish in places like France and Spain where they have tarragon. Also in Mexico and Texas, even Russia. Fancy that. And if you want to put your own personal stamp on this recipe, you can think of things to add to give it a twist of flavour. So there you go, we've taken you all over the globe to discover your favourite recipes from different countries. Perhaps something has tickled your taste buds. If it has, why not give it a go? Now our chicken tarragon is ready, served on a bed of rice, and there you have an absolutely gorgeous, easy to make, economical dish.